handcuff you?
Wouldn't be much of a surrender if I resisted. And if it makes them feel more secure, then
What's the S stand for?
it's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S. How about
Sir?
Hi, my name is Dr.
Emil Hamilton. I know. I can see your ID tag in your breast pocket.
Along with a half-eaten roll of wintergreen lifesavers.
Let's put our cards on the table here, General.
You're scared of me because you can't control me. You don't. And you never will. But that doesn't mean I'm your enemy.
Hi everybody, I am Peter Travers and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what is happening at the movies. And there can't be a bigger movie right now than Man of Steel, with Henry Cavill as Superman. And luck would be having it for us. Henry's right here. Henry, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much.
So, I've got to start. Superman. Strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and ability far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can like bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. What the hell? How do you play that?
You focused on the baseline of the character and the simple stuff, and instead of trying to sort of attack the role as the whole thing, you just break it down. I mean, we based our story in reality, and so you get an alien living in what we would say is the real world. And if the real world discovered that there was an alien for 33 years living amongst them who they couldn't hurt, how would the world feel? And how would that alien feel living amongst these people and trying to make this place his home? And so I approach it from that point, purely from Clark's point of view, which was a guy who has to hide everything that he is and is very lonely.
So, there's always been a lot of talk comparing Superman and Batman. This is just the way it is. And Christopher Nolan is a producer on this movie, who did those Dark Knight movies.
Yep.
So I don't know, in terms of Zack Snyder directing this and Chris Nolan being part of it, were you talking to these two guys constantly during production?
Chris Nolan, no. So all of my conversations were had with Zack, really. He was my go-to guy.
Well, what do you say to those people that some of them believe Superman is kind of the boring one? He doesn't lead this tortured existence, and the Dark Knight does. Was that what you felt before you entered this?
No, it's never what I felt. Entering this role, I always realized that to be that character, you would be very alone. And while it's not necessarily tortured, it's very much on the outside. And there's an interesting thing to that, because how do you interact with the world when you are that much on the outside in a normal daily life? And all we need to do is represent the character in the comic books, because that's a very interesting character.
Going back to the
source material.
Yeah, I think the best thing that you could say, or that I could say to people seeing this, is that they're not going to get what they think they're going to get.
Right.
You know, which is a really good thing to say in a Hollywood based on formula.
Very much so.
Yeah. But what happens when you get the news? I wanted to hear how you got the news, because I don't care how long you auditioned and whatever you did, somebody has to call you up, I don't know who it is, and say, Henry, you're it.
Right. I was actually playing a computer game at the time. When
Which one?
It was World of Warcraft, I think, an online game. So there's no pausing it, and a team relies upon you to do your job in the team. And at that stage, it was a particular high point. I couldn't just bail on them. I ignored the phone ringing, and then looked down at the last minute, and I see it's Zack Snyder. Dive for the phone. I'm like, forget you guys. I'm going with Zack. And
I thought if you were really a gamer, you might have said, forget Zack.
Well,
he can always
I think
call
Zack
back.
might take priority. I think they would understand had they known. And so dive for the phone, missed the call. Tried to call the number back, no answer. I'm starting to sweat at this stage, going, I can't believe I just missed that call. Probably the most important call, or potentially the most important call of my life. And then Zack calls back, and he is talking to me like he's going to let me down easy. And this is the thing I was expecting as well. But eventually he says, yeah, so thank you very much for coming in. Just wanted to call to say that. And I was also wondering if you wanted to do a little movie with me. And at which point it dawns on me. It was a very surreal moment. It wasn't. I didn't feel like leaping for joy and stuff. I wasn't prepared for yes. I was very much prepared for no, and I didn't quite know how to take it. It took a long time to process, and I just sat there for about 20 minutes having this very private moment of going, I don't know how to deal with this, because this is a big job, and it's going to take a lot of hard work, and I'm going to enjoy it, but how do I process a job of this scale? And then it just took some calling around, of which no one picked up their phones, not one family member. And about 2 hours into it, I started to relax and go, okay, cool, I can be excited now. It's actually happened. The news came out.
But to go back to that call for a minute, you have a history of trying out for parts that didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
James Bond being one of them?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
What was that call like?
That call, well, I got the call from the agent that time, because they obviously call the agent and say, look, thank you very much. It's going for someone else. We're going for someone else.
We're going in a different direction.
Different direction, that's what they like to say. And you know what? They went in the right direction. Daniel Craig absolutely nailed that role. Best guy for the job. And I don't care if I don't get a job if the best guy for the job gets it. And so, that's always disappointing, because you want to be the right guy for the job. And it would have been a great story to tell, and I was looking forward to it. But
Can always happen.
it could always happen, you never know. But it's one of those things where you go, okay, cool, well, on to the next. Yes, I'm disappointed, it's sad, it's not great, but onwards and upwards, go have a beer somewhere and do an audition tomorrow for something else.
Had you practiced, shaking and not stirring martinis and things in the idea of maybe it was going to happen? No.
No, I practiced asking from shaken, not stirred, though.
Okay, that's much more important that you say it that
Yeah.
way to do it. But yeah, it was Twilight. And
Twilight, yeah.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yes, actually, that one did exist. It was for Cedric Diggory I auditioned, and Robert got the role, I believe. And Twilight, I never got a script or an offer or auditioned or anything like that, but it's my understanding that the author of the books was keen on me playing the role, but for whatever reason, it never came round to me. So yeah, maybe I was too old for the role, I just don't know.
And what do you have? Do you have like pangs and saying, I could have done it?
No. When you watch those things, you're watching someone else do their stuff and their work, and watching them tell their story. And there's no point in being upset by things that you didn't get. It's looking at that stuff and go, okay, cool, well, I didn't get that. It's great, and I hope they do a fantastic job.
It's very odd because you're a Jersey boy and yet your accent is oddly British. So I don't, explain this.
I'm not from New Jersey.
It's
No.
not New Jersey. Is there another one really?
Yes. Well, New Jersey must get its name from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's the island of Jersey in between England and France, 9 miles by 5, and that's home base for me. It's where I'm from. And that's where New Jersey gets its name from.
But I read about you growing up that you were a little chubby.
Yes.
What is that?
That's the result of eating too much and not being active enough.
What were they serving in Jersey that made you?
It wasn't necessarily Jersey as such. I think it was, just going to school and having a packet of what we call crisps, or you guys chips. And it was just too much of that. And then boarding school. Boarding school is an amazing education. It's second to none. But when it comes to the food, it's not the healthiest. And so, you eat freely. And I just got chubby.
But did people make fun of you for it, or
Of course
was it
they did.
just they did?
Kids. I mean,
What
kids,
did they do to you?
they'd call. Kids made fun of everyone. My particular nickname, which was fitting, was Fat Cavill.
Fat Cavill.
Fat Cavill. Yeah, and
It's kind of blunt. It's
well,
not
it's to the
like-
point. It makes
Yes.
sense. I was fat. My name's Cavill.
Cavill.
It rolls off the tongue. And kids are kids. They're just stretching their social muscles at that age. And yeah.
So did you have this turning point where you said, enough of these crisps? I'm not eating these anymore.
I mean, I was getting less chubby as time went on because I was growing up, but not necessarily out. I was still eating the same stuff, but there was more of me to sort of burn. And then I got my first job out of the blue when a casting director came around all the English boarding schools looking for that kind of background. And I had a tiny bit of acting experience. I looked just right for the role. The director liked me as well. I auditioned twice, and that was The Count of Monte Cristo.
Ah.
And so I got that job, and then they said to my mum, sort of, not directly to me, which really, really got me at the time, was Henry needs to lose some weight. And so I went, okay, cool, and just went on a strict diet, and I think I lost a stone, 14 pounds. And yeah, so that's when I sort of slimmed down a little bit. I mean, I still wasn't in great shape by any means. That's only kind of, the fitness stuff only really happened with Immortals at first. And
Well, you had to for a moment.
it was essential, yeah.
Yes,
I don't
yeah.
think I had my top on
Greek mythology.
much in the movie at all.
No, it was just, no. You're an immortal.
Well,
Theseus.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
This is crucial stuff. But what was the time you first put on the suit?
That was a unique experience.
Would have to be.
It's really, really quite special. There's something about the suit which it has a physical energy. It's not just a costume. There's an aura to it. And when it came to the suit, the people who came up with the concepts, the people who took the measurements, the people who put it all together had an enormous love and respect and care for the character. And it showed. And as soon as you put it on, I didn't see Henry Cavill wearing a Superman outfit. I felt in the room that we were creating Superman. There was something very, very different about it. And wearing it on set, people treated me differently. And I felt different. It was very unique.
You play it now. You still look like you're in great shape. If this is successful, there's going to be more movies. I even hear that there may be a Justice League.
Justice League,
Oh, come
more
on, make
movies.
that
I
happen.
have no idea.
Oh, yeah, you do. You
Justice
must in
League-
your head be saying, I want a Justice League.
You know what? Justice League could be great if done correctly. It's a very tough one to do because the DC comic heroes are all godlike in their power. And so in this real world universe or real world setting we're telling our story in, it's going to be tough to achieve that, and it has to be done very delicately and with a lot of thought. And so it won't be right away, certainly not, or I hope it's not anyway. It may take some time of building up other movies and other characters and then introducing them together in one way or another.
Well,
But
when they did the Avengers, it certainly was quite the hit,
Yeah.
you know. So I think you have an energy of people liking something. They
Very
want
much
to come
so.
back to it to
very
do
much
it.
so. And
Yeah.
I think it'd be great to do, but I don't think it's around the corner.
When you look back, I don't know how many times you've looked at Man of Steel yourself, but when you see you, is there a moment, even 30 seconds in that movie, that resonates for you when you watch it? Not because it's the best scene or the biggest, but that it resonates for you personally.
There's a lot of scenes in there which resonate with me personally.
I was just asking for one. Look how good I am.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's
right,
amazing.
yeah.
It's very nice.
I said,
Generous. Thank
yeah,
you.
I thought so.
I wouldn't pick one in particular, but as an actor, as a boy in school who wasn't very popular, I spent a lot of my time watching the world and just seeing it all go by and trying to work out, why people did that or why they're reacting that way. And is that a normal reaction or is that because of something else in their life or whatever, and how they react to me. And there's a lot of that in Clark, who watches the world go by and he studies the world, and I recognize a lot of myself in that because I've spent a lot of time doing that. And so those moments resonate in particular.
It's a good answer. Well, we always end the show where we talk about something musical.
Okay.
I understand that you used your voice up by
It's a bit
singing all weekend.
It's a bit torn up right
You
now.
know, right?
Yeah.
So that I can't do that. But I'm wondering if Clark had on his iPad and he was just listening to something, what do you think Clark Kent would be listening to?
Clark wouldn't be listening to music. He listens to the music of the world, of humanity, of nature, because he's trying to understand and learn it. The last thing he's going to do is block it out by putting music in his ears. He's listening to the world, listening to the music of humanity.
So not only have you cut me dead musically, but you're telling me that Clark is not listening to music, despite what I have in my own head. But I can't argue with you. If you were Fat Cavill, I probably would take you on.
Right.
But you're Superman now, and so I can't possibly do it. I can't. Henry, thank you. Thank you.